Hi. From time to time, people ask me about how to stay on plan. And it seems that people fall firmly in one of two categories. You have folks who go low carb, high fat and pretty much stay on plan 95 to 100% of the time. And then you have folks who really struggle with it. And so I wanted to spend some time talking about staying on plan, especially in social situations. So when I started thinking about staying on plan, I wanted to ask folks, so what are the kind of the top reasons that throw you off plan? What happens that you go off plan with low carb, high fat? And when people, I put the post out in a couple of Facebook groups and started asking, and really folks said the biggest reason they go off plan is they fail to plan. They don't know what to eat, or they find themselves in situations where they don't have good options. A couple of folks, their families don't eat this way, and so they just out of convenience eat what's there. And so not having low carb, high fat options is really big, and we're going to talk about that. In fact, I plan to do a video series on staying on plan, and we're going to have one video just on planning. Another reason that people gave is that it was expensive to eat low carb, high fat. And I don't think that's necessarily true, although I do, especially if I'm trying to do the low carb, high fat baked goods, those items are pricier. And certainly real food, whole food is more expensive often than processed food. But we're going to talk about that as well. Another reason people gave me are social situations, social or cultural, and that is huge, I think especially for women. And so we'll do a video to talk about that. But the basis for all these things, every single reason that people gave me for falling off the wagon, so to speak, or for going off plan, that's how I like to think of it, all of them came back to kind of pointed to me an underlying importance of a foundation, a strong foundation. Now, here's a little secret about me, y'all may not know, not the most flattering thing, but I have really big feet. Yes, I do. I am barely over 5 feet tall, but I have size 9.5, 10 feet. They used to be bigger and wide width, but since I've lost weight, I can wear 9.5, 10. But anyway, I have big feet for my size, for my height, for my stature. And I always said it's because God gave me a firm foundation. And as you all know, the foundation of what we believe, kind of our belief system, is super, super important with anything that we do. You've also heard me talk about this is a way of life. It's a lifestyle. It's not a short-term diet. And so I think that before we can talk about what keeps people on plan or not, I think we have to talk about the reasons that you're eating low carb, high fat, and why. So think about the reasons for low carb, high fat. I started it as a way to lose weight. I didn't understand at the time that being obese was a symptom of underlying health issues. I didn't understand that the weight was an issue, but it wasn't the issue. And when I read Gary Taubes and then read other people, Finney and Volek, and I've shared my book list with you all in my failure story, and then the How I Stay on Plan. I shared all that. But when I started reading and understanding the science, I understood that it wasn't just about the weight. I understood that my body is what Finney and Volek call carb intolerant. I don't process carbohydrates the way a lot of folks do, or the way perhaps healthier individuals. For whatever reason, my body is different. And I think of it like a peanut allergy. If you're allergic to peanuts, you can't eat them, or you can, but you're going to make yourself sick at the very least. And my body is not that different from that. So when we talk about a foundation or belief system, I think that it's super, super, super important that you understand the science. When you understand that this isn't about, I want to lose 15, 20, 30, or even 100 pounds because I want to be able to wear a certain size clothing, or I want to look a certain way. When you understand that, okay, this is like a peanut allergy. My body doesn't tolerate carbohydrates. I need to eat this way for the rest of my life. And when you get that belief system, when you underscore it, or when the importance of it is underscored for you, I think it becomes harder to get off plan. Now, let me give you an example of that. I've talked about before being in social settings and people saying, gosh, how can you not eat this big fluffy yeast roll? How can you not eat this muffin, or why aren't you eating pizza, the high carb version of pizza? And again, I go back to that belief system. For me, what I believe, and maybe I'm wrong, but what I believe is that carbohydrates are bad for my body. That food is like a poison. If I eat a high carb food, my body will produce an abundance of insulin to try and deal with those carbs, those sugars. That in turn, with the insulin, takes those sugars and carbs I've eaten, turns it to fat, and stores it in my cells. My body doesn't use that energy. It can't, because I get the abundance of insulin released, and it stores that energy instead of using it. So if nothing else, you have to believe that. Because once you believe that low carb, high fat is actually healthier for your body, once you believe that your body is carb intolerant and that you can't process carbohydrates, that gives you a firm foundation. That gives you the belief system that says it doesn't matter how it tastes. What matters is that it makes me sick. What matters is it isn't good for my body. Let's talk about belief system a little bit. So if I handed you a piece of meat, let's say I gave you a really nice juicy burger, and that burger had melted cheese and bacon and maybe even some grilled mushrooms or onions. It looked amazing. The bacon's just glistening and it's cooked perfectly for you. And I hand you this burger and I say, doesn't this look great? And you say, gosh, that looks amazing. I can't wait to dig into that burger. And I say, well, you can eat that burger, but you need to know that we've tested it and it's positive for E. coli. Are you still going to eat that burger? Probably not. You're going to look at me like, why would I eat this? Because you know, part of your belief system is that E. coli makes you sick. Makes you very sick. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you very sick. And it doesn't matter how delicious that burger looks, you're not going to eat it. Now, the exception to that might be if you were in an extreme situation, you were starving, then you might eat the burger. But more likely than not, you're going to say, no thanks. And why would you hand me a burger with E. coli on it? I'm trying to make a point. The same thing with other foods. It doesn't matter how good it looks. If our belief system is that it's actually poison to our body, or it in some ways makes us sick or unhealthy, then we're not going to eat it. You have to reach that place in terms of building a firm foundation. Read the science and understand it. Know your body. For, 40 some years, 40 plus years, my body was not tolerating carbohydrates. Remember, I was overweight even as a child. So it was storing it as fat. I was obese, I had other health issues because I ate what looked good but really wasn't healthy for my body. So, first rule of staying on plan: understand the science behind a ketogenic or low carb, high fat diet. Understand that it's not about the taste, it's about the food and whether it's good for your body or not. When you get that firm foundation and you believe that it's bad for you, then it makes it far, far easier to stay on plan. Now, this sounds so simple, and don't discount it, but that for me is what's made all the difference. That's how I can look at foods I used to enjoy that were high carb. I can look at foods that family members make that I know are special because they made them, and I can say, no, thank you. I don't want to eat that. And the difference there is not me saying, I can't eat that. I'm saying to you, I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat it because it makes me sick. It makes me feel bad. And who wants to be sick? And I think when we use that language with others, it makes a difference as well. You're not deprived. You can eat that. You can eat the burger with the E. coli. You can eat the high carb cake or ice cream or pastry or whatever it is that you want. You can eat that. But the consequences are it harms your body. It makes your body sick. And when you have that in mind, when you bear that in mind, it makes all the difference in the world in terms of staying on plan. We're going to keep talking about this, so stay with me, and we're going to talk about how to handle social situations. I hope that this is helpful to you. Please leave me comments. Let me know what challenges you face with regards to staying on plan, because you know what? Together we can do this, and we can support each other, and we can be healthier, and we can help other people not struggle with their weight or with inflammation or with other unhealthy things, just by letting them know, telling them about Finian Bullock's work, telling them about Gary Taub's book. There's so many wonderful people with great resources out there that we can share so that others can understand this the way that we do. Again, I hope this has been helpful. Take care.